didn't cross me at all.
Hi guys, I'm back with a video which is very important to me, kind of like describing to everybody like the type of experiences that I've had and what I've had to go through in relationships, like, and recognizing that you're a sufferer of emotional abuse. And I think it took a very long time for me to actually realise that I went through that. Also, I was a quite confident girl. Obviously I had my mum, my dad, my two brothers, I had lots of friends. I used to go raving all the time. I used to work really hard. I was one of them people that, you know, work hard, play harder. I worked my way up to like assistant manager to where I was working before, or trainee assistant manager. I was in a good place. You know, I was making my own money, a young person, like very independent, what most people would want to achieve at that age that I was achieving it. Get me? And then it all went left. See, I met my baby father through a friend, and it wasn't really meant to be something that was meant to happen for so long, or he wasn't even meant to be my baby father, basically. He came to the house, he came in the room, he wasn't really my type. He was like very dark and short and just not my type. But through that relationship, that I did realise that there was like this person that would like pop up like on his phone and make messages. But he lived in East London at the time and I lived in South London, but he always used to come and stay at my house. But I had a flat and he had a flat, but he was renting out one of the rooms or something like that. I can't remember. But I'm a homebird. Like, I have my house in a certain type of way. Like, I like it. I like natural light. I don't like dark houses. I just don't like living like that. So anyway, I would say like come spend time at my house. Like, I used to work, so I just have to go to work like as well. So eventually, basically what happened is me and my best friend Serene, who you've seen in the video, we went on holiday to Corfu. And as I said, I'm the raver, I'm the dancer, I used to dance, I'm the raver, I'm the dancer, I'm the life of the party. But 3 days in, it's just like I was very tired, very tired, very sleepy, didn't want to do much, and it was pissing her off. So she was like, B, I think you're pregnant. So I said, oh, not me, because I was one of them girls like, nah, I was on contraception, like, I was too busy, I didn't even want kids, I was happy being the auntie and be the person to give you back your child. So anyway, when we got back home, she said, look, you need to take a pregnancy test. So I took in a pregnancy test, but bearing in mind that I was in a relationship with him at the time I went on holiday, and because my flat was like relatively new, I didn't want to leave my flat unattended, so he came and stayed at my flat for me. So I've gone on holiday, all that's happened, I've come back, I'm pregnant. I've told him. I can't say that it was a happy moment for the both of us because, as I said, I didn't want to have kids. I don't know if it was a happy moment for him. To be honest, I didn't even really care. So we went through that process. I told my mum. I didn't even really want to be with him. Like, I didn't like him. I really just did not like him. He just was not my type. Like, I just did not like him. And I had this thing like he was Jamaican and he still had a Jamaican passport. I'm Jamaican, but I've got my British passport. And there's this stigma with some Jamaican men, and it's like when you meet a British girl like me, like the first thing you think about is marrying me and my passport, and I'm very funny and I'm just not. So I was very ignorant towards him. I remember telling my mum when I was pregnant, and I told her that I didn't want to be with him, and I was very fine bringing up a baby by myself. And she said to me, no, I don't want you to have to go through that. So I respected my mum. So I stayed in a relationship. And all of this was going on. I remember there was a time when she messaged me and was like, oh, you took my man. And I was like, taken back. It's really not that much of a big deal for me. And then she was like, oh, your baby's gonna die. Now, I'll be honest with you. Like you can dislike somebody, you can hate somebody, but you see when it comes to kids, and you see when it comes to being a mother yourself, which she was a mother herself. It wasn't his child, but she was a mother yourself, and you're ringing somebody and you're telling somebody that you want their child to die. Like, you're just very disgusting. So I would never ever respect her. To this day, he's now her wife. She's now his wife. I will never ever respect her regardless. Like, I just never ever will. So during that period, obviously I had my flat, and one day I come home and he's saying to me, because my mum, she had another house somewhere else, so he's saying to me, oh, your mum wants us to move into your house, like, and I think it's good for you because it's a 3-bedroom house and the baby can grow up and have its own room and whatever else. Now, this is a guy that's asked my mum and my dad to marry me. They're going on like the sun shines out of his arse. So I'm gonna follow what my mum said, because my mum, in her relationship, hasn't done any, has done really, really well, her and my dad. So I followed her and I moved into the house. I had the baby, and after the baby, it's just more drama and more contention. It's just more problems. Random phone calls in the middle of the night. Like, I'd have to be asking him, like, what's going on? I'm constantly being fed lies, and I don't know if it was because I was pregnant, or we'll call her Sophie. So Sophie comes back to the house, and Sophie moves in with me. Now, Sophie is a lesbian, and me and my baby father, we used to have like little talks and stuff. Like, I would tell him the type of way that my head is, and just the type of things that I would like to do. Like, but that's another story. So anyway, when Sophie comes back to the house now, there's like couple days, couple months, we're close, we're getting closer and closer, because obviously where I was working at the time, she was taking part in something that I was doing, so we would always be together. I don't know if he became jealous of that situation, or I don't really know what really happened there. But one day I came home from work, and this was working in the pub. One day I came home from work and they was both sitting in the kitchen. So this is my baby father and Sophie. We're both sitting in the kitchen. Now, he said to me, oh, I've been watching you two and I see that there's a connection between you two. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? And he was saying, well, I think we should have a threesome. And I'm looking at this girl and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? First of all, this girl has never been with a man before in her life. And second of all, like, this is not the way that I ever would have imagined it, like it being planned for me. So I shrugged it off. But as the times went on and times went on, he kept going on about it, kept going on about it. But what he didn't realise, that it wasn't making me want to do it with them as a threesome. It was just making me more attracted to her. So eventually, like one night, he was working late or something like that, and it basically happened. I think one day he came in and he may have caught up. She was familiar with my mom and everything, but me and my baby father's relationship is just like drifting. So one day I'm at work and Sophie comes down and Sophie's like, oh, your mum's just messaged me. And I was like, what did she say? And she was like, oh, your mum's asked me what's going on between me and you. Your baby father has sent in pictures of us together and rah. So I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to talk to my mum, because me and my mum were very open. I'm just going to really just explain to her what's going on. So I've rang my mum and I've explained to my mum what's going on. And I've let her know that he is a dirty bastard and he is the one that started all of this, mum. And now that it's gone like in the way he didn't want it to, he's now trying to cause a rift between me and my mum. Like, and I just really just couldn't understand why. Like, to me, this guy was crazy. Like, he wanted my house to look like how my mum's house was. Like, he went out and he bought sofas that looked like my mum's sofas. Like, I don't understand. It was just, I don't know. It's just like he just saw my mum's house and just saw everything I had and just wanted it. But that's not what I wanted for myself. Like, I wanted to make my own path for myself. But one day, he come to me and he was like, oh, I'm going to Manchester to see my friends. And I thought, Of the 3 years we've been together, I've never ever heard of any friends in Manchester like, what are you talking about? But he was part of the army, so it could have just been one army link up. And again, I really didn't get, so I said, cool. I'm ringing his phone, and I'm realising that at a certain time in the evening, I can't get through to his phone, or his phone's just going straight to voicemail. So he calls me in the day one day, and I've gone, oh, you're all right? What you been doing? Like, how's your bedroom? He's like, what's really good? And I was like, furthermore, if you're out with your friends on a Mandem trip, why is it after a certain time I can't get through to your phone? Hear him now. I'm taking sleeping tablets. Sleeping tablets. I said, you're taking sleeping tablets? I said, but you was meant to be on a Mandem weekend. So at night time, you're not meant to be like out raving and that. So I don't understand why you're taking sleeping tablets. I said, okay, cool. Anyway, fast forward a couple days now. Well, maybe like, let's not fast forward a couple days. Fast forward a day now. Me and Sophie are getting ready to go to work. My phone rings. Bearing in mind, I recognise this number. It may not be saved in my phone, but I recognise this number because this number's tortured me for a very, very, very long time. So I answer the phone, and basically I hear, when are you going to tell Becky about me and you? And then I hear him say, what about me and you? And then she says, well, how long are you going to keep this up without Becky knowing? I think Becky should know. So these times I've got two phones, so I've taken my other phone and I've messaged him and I've told him what I could hear. But then it's like the message wasn't going through, so I picked the house phone up and I rang his mobile phone and he answered the house phone. And then I said to him, I just heard the whole conversation with you and her in the car. Locked off the phone. He's trying to ring me, he's trying to ring me, he's trying to ring me, he's trying to ring me. Bear in mind, guys, this is my exit out. Like, I'm looking to God, like, thank God this has happened. Like, because this guy, he's just like, he's just the worst. Like, have you ever been in a relationship where somebody literally tries to change every single part of you? Every single part of you. You was not even meant to be my man, my baby father. So however I live my life and what I choose to do with my life, like, you know, I was a fun, outgoing person, and he turned me into this like housewife that, okay, it's good, but I didn't have time for anything else. I literally went to work and then I had a baby. So, you know, like, what I want you to understand is, before I met this guy, like, I had goals and I had things that I was doing. Like, not to say I'm not very happy that my son is here, but if I never had my son, when I had my son, I would have been running my own pubs. I would have been doing a lot more and not trying to play catch up now. It's now baby mother, now wife. I was like, yes, thank God I can get out of this. I wasn't even emotional, I wasn't even upset. I got ready, I was going to work. He's messaging me, let's talk about this, and no, there was nothing to talk about, because do you know what? You was really only using me for what you thought you could get through my mum. That's it, point blank, period. And people can pretend to be what you are, but when I live with you every day and the torture that I'm going through, and you making my parents feel like I'm just this raging bull, and really and truly I'm this person that's been like forced to change her life. Like, basically I felt like I was just like married off, and I had like no opinions in whatever happened in my life anymore, and I was just happy to get out of it, to be honest. So then eventually me and Sophie, we got into a relationship. I introduced her to my mum. I explained to her what went on. My mum was cool with it. Everything was cool. But there was a serious age gap between me and Sophie. So I think that kind of like rolled on me, and just the whole feeling like I haven't got my son, and, you know, but my head was just all over the place after him, to be really, really honest. My mum fell over at work. My mum's a bus driver, so my mum had to walk up a slope. So my mum fell over at work, and to break her fall, she put her hand down, and it was snowing and stuff. So she really fractured her arm. She had to have a metal plate in her arm. So my mum was off of work for a while. I think she could realise that I was like struggling with not working, and just like my whole independence being taken away from me. So one day she rang me, she was like, look, I'm off from work, and what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to take Elijah so you can go back to work and you can go to uni and you can just fulfill everything that you've been wanting to fulfill. Because so after finding out or getting a phone call from his now baby mother, now wife, I was like, yes, thank God I can get out of this. I wasn't even emotional, I wasn't even upset. I got ready, I was going to work. He's messaging me, let's talk about this, and no, there was nothing to talk about, because do you know what? You was really only using me for what you thought you could get through my mum. That's it, point blank, period. And people can pretend to be what you are, but when I live with you every day, and the torture that I'm going through, and you making my parents seem like I'm just this raging bull, and really and truly I'm this person that's been like forced to change her life. Like basically I felt like I was just like married off, and I had like no opinions in whatever happened in my life anymore, and I was just happy to get out of it, to be honest. So there was a serious age gap between me and Sophie, so I think that kind of like told on me, and just the whole feeling like I haven't got my son. And I got back into uni, like my mum told me to do. So I got back into uni and I met these bunch of friends. So I'm basically now getting myself out of that little depression that I felt I was falling into. So I've gone back to uni like my mum says I should have. I've met a bunch of girls